Hello there, first graders. So now that you've spent some time learning about Vincent van Gogh and looking at his painting, The Starry Night, we are going to begin making some artwork inspired by Vincent van Gogh. This is going to be a pumpkin patch. So we will start with the pumpkin patch with our pumpkins, and then we are going to give our artwork a background that looks kind of like Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. So to do this, you are going to need just a plain white piece of paper, and it is going the long way across, the long way from left to right. We are also going to be using some crayons. We are drawing only with crayons today, and we are going to be using a few different colors. Now, we are going to be drawing together, and this can be a little bit longer of a video, and so feel free to pause the video at any time if you need to get caught up. Okay, so to start, we are going to be using a green crayon. So you need to find a green crayon, and you can show that you have your green crayon by holding it up really, really high in the air. Once everybody has their green crayon in the air, we can get started. All right, now with this green crayon, our first step is actually quite simple. We are going to be taking the green crayon, and in the bottom right corner of your paper, we're just going to start by putting our name and class code. And if you run out of room for your class code, it can go on top of your name or in front of your name. Now we can set that green crayon to the side once we have that finished. We will need it here in a little bit, but to get started, we're actually going to start drawing our pumpkins first. So we are going to need some type of an orange color. So your next job is to find an orange colored crayon. It can be red orange, yellow orange, regular orange, any type of orange will work, but that's the color we are going to be using to draw our pumpkins. And now that we have our orange crayons, we are going to get started with our pumpkins. We are going to be making 3 pumpkins with the biggest one in the middle of our paper. Now, these pumpkins are going to be the biggest thing that goes on your paper, and everything else is going to kind of look like it's behind it. So we're going to start with the big pumpkin right in the middle of our paper. So I want you to find the middle of your paper, and we are going to draw in the middle of your paper a big oval. Okay, this is what our pumpkin is going to start looking like first, is just an oval. And we will turn that into a pumpkin, you'll see. Now we're going to make an oval on the left side and an oval on the right side. But look, the one that goes on the left, I'm going to start at the top of the oval I just made, come around, and then it's going to touch the bottom of that oval I just made. We're going to repeat that on the other side. Touching the oval I just made, coming around, and then touching the bottom of that first oval. See how it's starting to look like a pumpkin? Now we're going to repeat that one more time on each side. One more on the left, and one more on the right. And now we have pumpkin number 1. So now we are going to make 2 other pumpkins. Now, depending on where you put your first pumpkin, this might be different for you based on how your picture looks. I'm going to put 1 pumpkin on the left and 1 pumpkin on the right. Now, if my pumpkins kind of run out of room, I can make it look like my pumpkins I'm making are either going off the page, or they can look like they're behind the pumpkin. If you need help figuring out where to put your pumpkin, make sure you raise your hand and ask for help, okay? Now let's draw pumpkin number 2. I'm gonna move on to the left side. That's just where I'm going to put mine. You can put yours on the right if you want to. Now my second pumpkin, I do want it to be smaller than the first, so I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna start again with an oval. It's a lot smaller than the one that I did first last time. Repeating the steps, I'm gonna put another oval on the left, another oval on the right, and I'm going to repeat that until I have a pumpkin that is the size that I like. Now you could keep going here too if you want to go one more time on the left and one more time on the right, that's fine. And one more pumpkin. Maybe this one will be a medium-sized pumpkin, so a little bit bigger than the one that I just did. So again, in the middle of that space, I'm making an oval and repeating that same step. And there we go. Now I have my 3 pumpkins there, and it is important that the pumpkins are in kind of a line or a row right there. Otherwise, what we're going to be doing later on might not work very well. Okay, and if you need to pause the video here to finish your pumpkins, go ahead and do that. And moving on, we are actually going to be making some stems for our pumpkins. There's a few different ways to do this. I'm going to show you how to make it look 3D. So some stems go straight up and down, some go to the side. So I think we can make all 3 options if we want to. We could do a straight up one going to the left and one going to the right. Now to make a 3D stem, here I'll zoom you in here to my big pumpkin. To make a 3D stem, I'm going to make a line on this side and a line on the right. They're a little bit curved. Okay, so this is where my stem is going to be. I'm going to make one line that connects these 2 lines together. It's a curved line coming toward me, kind of like a smiley face. And then a line on top that looks like a frowny face. And there we have a 3D stem. Now to add something extra to it, we can make some of these lines to show that there's some texture. And there's stem number 1. Now to make a stem facing the other way, let's say instead of having one straight up and down, maybe on this next pumpkin, I want one that's going to the left. So my curved lines need to be going toward the left. See how they're pointing to the left? So instead of straight up and down, they're going to the left. But we're going to do the same thing. So I have a smiley line here and a frowny line on top. And again, if I want it to look more realistic, I can add some texture. Okay, so there's my first 2. Now for the third one, maybe I want this one facing to the right. Now I'm going to challenge you. I want you to do this last stem all on your own. Okay, and there we have it. Sorry, situated my camera here. There we go. Okay, now to finish off our little stem area there's a few things we can do with this brown crayon still. We can add some little curlies. Sometimes some vines have that when they're attached to the pumpkins, and then the pumpkins sometimes will get those when they get pulled from the vines. And with a green crayon, if you have a green crayon handy, you could even add some little leaves. And again, those can just be kind of coming off of your stems. And your leaves can look however you want them to look. Okay, and this video is getting kind of long, so I think we will end it here. This is how to draw the pumpkins. Next time, in the next video, we will learn how to make this actually a landscape. So we'll have a sky and a ground, and we will make it look like the style of Vincent van Gogh.